Hi, I'm Delusion Dispeller, and now I'm going to talk to you about goals and how a trauma victim handles goals. Well, in short, they don't. They're not very goal driven people. Um, they have a lot of trouble not only setting goals, but sticking to goals and being consistent with them. They may have really good intentions to do something, but as far as following through, not real likely in somebody that's been traumatized, not without a lot of help. So they don't sustain goal-directed behaviors very well. The other thing about trauma victims, they can be very overly protective of the person taking care of them, to the point where, again, the paranoia comes in. They may not want you to go somewhere because what if something happens, that you get hit by a car, mugged, raped, whatever. They're very paranoid people. Very, very paranoid. Hyper vigilant. Another thing is they have a hard time when somebody goes away trusting them again and reuniting with them after they've gone. So somebody that's been traumatized, if you go on a vacation, first of all, they're going to beg you not to go 9 times out of 10. And if you do finally go, if they say they're okay with it and you do go, when you come back, there may be a coldness between you. Because it's almost like they held a grudge because you left them. And they feel that you're going to leave them permanently at some point. Even while you're gone, they may feel that maybe you're going to find somebody else. You're going to get sick of them and end things with them. So when you come back, it's very difficult for them to get back into the swing of things and to truly believe that you're not going anywhere permanently. Because they feel that even that short amount of separation with you was like endless. And they therefore have lost trust in you. So don't be surprised if you are with a traumatized person and you went to go visit your mom or your dad or your friend, and you come back and they're hardly talking to you. And it takes a really long time for anything to ever be said again. It's because they hold things very, very personally. More than the normal-minded person, the non-traumatized person will. So be aware of that. They have a very negative sense of self, and it's very persistent and very evident. You'll hear them say things like, "Oh, you're so stupid," to themselves and about themselves. "You're so dumb. You're such a dummy. You're such a loser. You're good for nothing. Why would I think that would work? Nothing ever works for me. My dad was right. I'm useless. My mom was right. I'll never be anything." You'll hear this all the time from somebody that's been traumatized. They're self-loathers. They hate themselves, which is why it's very hard to be in a healthy relationship with them, because they hate themselves, so how are they going to love somebody else? They never knew real love, a lot of them. So therefore, they don't like who they are. They figure, if that person couldn't love me, then I mustn't be lovable. They feel helpless, worthless, ineffective. A lot of them feel non-existent or invisible. They feel defective, like they were the worst thing ever created. Like everybody's life they come across, they ruin. Bad things always happen when you're around me. Don't get too close to me, because the last people that did ended up just really getting hurt. Things don't work out when you're with me. These are all things you'll hear from somebody that's been traumatized. Very negative sense of self, or very inflated sense of self. Think they're God's gift to the earth because they want to believe that they are. A lot of distrust, and not very good at giving in relationships. You may find that they are very good takers of your money, of your time, of your sexuality, of whatever, but they're not very good at giving back. They feel entitled, like you owe it to them. The world owes them something, and therefore they can be very rebellious. If you mention, I gave you a back rub, how about rubbing my feet or something? They'll make every excuse in the book not to do it, because they felt perfectly entitled to what you did for them. But for some reason, they lack that empathy. They lack that understanding that you have a right to things too. And It's just not an equal give and take, and these relationships do not work out very well. Take it from one who knows. There's a lot of physical aggression and verbal aggression towards friends and caregivers and other adults. It's very hateful, angry, bitter people that have been traumatized. Now, I'm not saying everybody that's been traumatized reacts this way, because some people, it's all based on your resilience. How well do you bounce back from things? And how do you perceive the abuse that you went through? Do you perceive yourself as able to overcome things that happen to you, or do you perceive yourself as a victim? A lot of that has to figure into that too. They can be very promiscuous. A lot of seductive behaviors. They rely on people for safety and reassurance a lot. They don't have it within themselves to self-soothe, first of all. Therefore, they also don't believe that they can trust themselves to be safe and to make safe choices. So they try to find someone to latch onto that can make the decisions for them. I'm going to try to keep all this, I think, on this one video, because I'm almost done with all of this information. Let's see. There's something called empathic arousal. That, again, means that they can put themselves in your shoes. They can understand why you're upset over Aunt Sally dying, or over losing a pet, or whatever. And somebody that's been traumatized, a lot of times they don't understand why you're upset, and they get very angry if you cry, or you're sad, or you're upset. They will overreact. They'll start screaming at you and say, "Stop crying, you big baby, what's your problem?" Or, "Why are you crying? That's ridiculous. That's not a big thing. You'll be all right. You have other pets." That kind of stuff. That's a trauma victim. They have learned that their own cries weren't heard. Therefore, how dare you cry? Because they're not used to that. They're not used to expressing their emotion and having it be okay. So they can't understand why you're okay with expressing your emotion, and they don't want you to be, because it's uncomfortable for them. The last thing I want to talk about is that they are unable to be in the here and now. They're not present people. The way that I read about it, it said that their brain waves keep them from focusing on insignificant data, and they're not working. And they're not working. Their brain waves are not working, so they can't focus on things that they don't consider super important, and they can't analyze things. So they have a hard time, again, with cause and effect. They're not very present, because being present means analyzing and perceiving. It's easier for them to kind of live in their head or in fantasy sometimes. So they have trouble with things that are going on in the here and now. They're not comfortable with that, so they zone out. That stimuli shuts them down rather than connects them to things around them. And it's hard to have relationships with people like that, because it feels like you're never connected. Like there's never this partnership there. So they're not able to do that. They're not able to perceive your thoughts and your feelings and your hurts and your pains and what they need to do to improve things in the relationship. Anyway, so it's just some warning signs to look for in a relationship. And if you see any of these things in any measurable amount, I would definitely get out of the relationship if you can. If it's not very measurable and you think there may be a possibility that that person's just been traumatized and needs help, go to a therapist, together, alone, both. My partner and I are doing that as well. It doesn't hurt to see somebody and talk to somebody. Nobody has all the answers, but it helps to have a third party sometimes get in there and tell the other person what is going on from their perception and how to remedy it. Nobody is an island. We all interrelate with each other, but people that have been traumatized are a lot more challenging to have relationships with. So hopefully this gave you some ideas of what to look for in traumatized relationships. A lot of people have asked me, why don't you have answers? How do you fix this? How do you work with this? Some people can't be fixed. And then others, it takes time. You just have to decide what you can put up with, how much you are willing to give up and sacrifice in your relationship. What's a deal breaker for you? What's a deal breaker for him or her? And you go from there. Anyway, I hope this was insightful for you. Feel free to leave comments below and email me at delusiondispeller@gmail.com. I read every one of your emails. If I give a short, choppy answer, it's because I'm working on the side and I don't have time to give lengthy answers. I do offer paid sessions. If you want to know about those, again, write me at delusiondispeller.com. As always, if you're in a dangerous situation or an abuse situation, please tell a safe person. Get out of it if you can. If it's safe to do so, always keep your safety first. Always have a plan A, B, C, D, and onward if things don't work out. And be ready to leave if you need to. If I can help in any way, I'm here for you. I care. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. If I come up with any more ideas, you'll see more videos. Thanks a lot. God bless you. Bye.